Hi friends, it's Deanna here today, and today we're going to be sewing the Colorblock zip swimsuit, and there are so many options with the swimsuit that is just incredible. We've got like the just plain option, we've got the plain option with the plain option with the built-in shelf bra, we've got the Colorblock option, we got the zip up option. So many options, a skirt option to add to your waistband. So because we have so many options, I will be making 2 videos on this bathing suit, and one will be just a simple shelf bra option, and then the next one will be a Colorblock zip up option, and this one will also have the skirt as well. So this is a simple version. I'm going to do the shelf bra on it though, and I'm also going to attach the skirt to the waistline, and I'm doing the bottoms as well on this option. So let's do it together. But before I do, let me remind you about our Fun Fan giveaway of $50 Ellie and my gift certificate. And all you have to do is subscribe to our channel and comment below, and that is how you're going to be entered for this giveaway. So if you're not subscribed, what are you waiting for? Go ahead and subscribe and comment so you can be entered and win the amazing $50 prize. And there's always some other contests going on as well, so you can be entered for those as well. So go ahead and enter. All right, let's go ahead and get started. The first thing I'm gonna work on is that shelf bra, and you can use power mesh for the shelf bra, and I'm just using the same kind of lining as the swim lining. So I'm just using 2 layers of swim lining, but it is really recommended that you use like a heavier power mesh type of material to give you more support if you want to, but I'm just gonna go with the regular lining. So I've got 2 pieces cut out for that, so let's go ahead and work on that. First thing we're gonna do is we're going to make a circle, a semicircle about an inch or an inch and a half to 2 inches wide on the side of one of the sides of your panel. And I am making it right in the middle. I'm putting it right in the middle. And I'm making mine like 2 inches right here. And I just kind of went in as a semicircle, as you can see it right here. And then I'm gonna fold my part because I want to make both of them the same size. So when I cut, I'm just gonna cut over that one first semicircle I made, but just make sure that it is the same exact so it'll be the same exactly on the other side. So I'm just kind of pinning here, that way the material doesn't move on me when I'm trying to cut it. And I'm going to cut, I don't know, this is probably not the wisest thing to cut with, and actually they're doing pretty decent, but I'm just gonna cut all the way around. All right. Now I've got those 2 areas right there, and they have been cut. I'm gonna go over to my serger, or you can do it with a zigzag stitch on your sewing machine. I'm going to finish up those edges, those raw edges right around here, so that way they will be all finished. So I'm gonna go over on my sewing machine or on my serger, and I'm just gonna go right along that raw edge on both of these. All right, so now that I've got my liner all fixed, it's got those raw edges have been finished. I'm gonna grab my other piece, which this would be your power mesh. If you're doing power mesh or whatever it is that you're doing, you would grab this other piece and put it right out. I'm gonna put my liner right on top, and I am going to pin them together. Okay, and then I'm gonna go over to my machine, and I'm gonna baste this 2 together all around the neck and the shoulders and the side and the little part right here. I am not top stitching or basting around this area. I'm going to leave that open because that's where I'm going to put in the padding or whatever I'm going to put in there. If I want to add some padding later, they're going to go right through there. So I'm going to go ahead and then go back down right here, go down all the way over and up just a little bit right here. So I'm going to start right here, go up, around, all the way over and all the way down, and then again right here. Basting stitch is just a long straight stitch on your sewing machine that you can later pull out once you've sewn all the parts together. So once you finish putting your whole top together, then you'll be able to pull all those basting stitches off, and it won't cause extra bulk. So I'm gonna go ahead and pin all the way around and move on to my sewing machine, and we're gonna sew them together. Time to baste. When I start, I always like to go ahead and at the beginning kind of give it put a pin down here, or just pull on it a little bit so it can get started. Then when we get to the right here, we're gonna pull it down and curve. You can go ahead and grab a pin back here and help it go along as it's going along that edge. All right, as you can see, I've basted all the way around, so now they're basted together. I'm going to grab my elastic. This is a 5/8 elastic, and I'm going to pin it both ends because at the raw edge, because I am going to use this to be kind of give it a little of tightness at the bust, so it gives it more support. And then I'm gonna go over to the other side. What I like to do sometimes, it's like fold in half and find the half mark. Sometimes it makes it easier for me when I'm using the elastic. And then I'm gonna find the half of my bodice as well. That way I know where it is. I'm just gonna mark it with my little notch right here where I can see it. And that is, I know right there where I marked it is where my half is gonna go. So now when I'm pulling my elastic to actually attach, I'm just pulling halfway first, and then I'm gonna pull the other half. And we're going to go over to our sewing machine and attach it with a zigzag stitch. The zigzag stitch is gonna be 4 millimeters wide and 2.5 long. So 4 and 2.5. And now I am going to sew that zigzag stitch, and I'm gonna get started. And I like to kind of pull on it just a little bit. So then now I can even out, pull that zigzag, that elastic all the way down where it's flushed at that raw edge where that middle piece was. Okay, so that was the middle. Then now I can pull that pin out, and then I'm gonna grab and pull again. Here's my end. I'm gonna pull it to straighten it out, and I'm gonna sew the rest. All the way down. And now it's attached. My elastic is on in zigzag, as you can see it. And so we're gonna grab our liner main, and we're gonna put it face up on our board, face down, I'm sorry, wrong side up. And then I'm gonna grab my bodice that I've created, not my bodice, my shelf bra that I've created. And I'm gonna put it, the power mesh side, which is this front area, is gonna be right on top of the, that lining. And we're going to pin it together and baste it all around. Now, as you can tell, the shelf bra area is shorter than your lining. You see that? Because you want that to be higher. And we're gonna go ahead and pin all the way around and baste all those layers together. And on the sides, you're gonna come over and stretch so that you can baste them together. But you're also, that's my iron, you're also going to make sure that you don't run over and close those little areas right there where you're gonna put in your cups when you're adding cups. So you wanna either sew straight through so that they're attached to each other, and that's fine, but just don't go around and close that gap. So I'm gonna show you as I sew it. So this is just a basic long straight stitch, and I'm just going to go straight. Don't go around it like closing that gap. You want that gap to be able to put something in there. So you're just gonna go straight, and then I'm gonna go all the way around the whole thing. They're basted together. right, so now it's got my front, it's lined with my power mesh in between the two of them, and I have my area right here where the cups are gonna go in. So you would just fold them and stick them in there through that gap that you left in there all the way. So that's really neat because sometimes you want a little bit more on your suit. You don't want it to just be plain. And then you would stick the other one on the other side, obviously, but that will give you a little bit of extra support. So that's really great to put on there. And I only have one right now, but I'm going to take it out again while I do the construction. But I just wanted to show you how easy it will be once it's all constructed to just put those in there. And you can get those pretty much anywhere that sells like fabric supply stores and stuff like that will have it. I'm gonna grab my back now. So now we're gonna go ahead and this is not my back, this is my bottoms liner. I'm gonna grab my back bodice liner, and I'm going to put my liner touching my back bodice liner. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna match up those raw edges. We're gonna match up the shoulder seams, and we're going to match up the shoulder seams and the side seams. And now this is gonna become your liner, your whole swimsuit liner. So then I'm gonna go ahead and sew these edges all the way around. And you won't be able to see, because it's a liner, then your edges are gonna be, your serge edges are gonna be on the outside, as you can see, because then your outer is gonna go right on top and it's gonna get sewn together on top of this. Okay. So this inside right here, that's going to be your inside part. So we're gonna go ahead and sew the shoulders and the sides, and I'm gonna use a serger to do that. I'm gonna do the same with the bodice outer. Mira those shoulder seams and sew those shoulder seams and those side seams together. All right, so now I've sewn those shoulders. I'm gonna turn my bodice right side out. How cute is this gonna be? I'm so excited. And I'm gonna grab my liner and I'm going to fit it into my liner into my outer, making sure you're matching. And I'm going to match those seams, okay, because you want the seams to be touching because they're going to be pieced together. I'm going to clip all these tails because they just annoy me. Do they not annoy you? So annoying. Okay, and then I'm going to go around the whole thing, the neck and the arms, and I'm going to sew them together. So let me go ahead and pin them together all the way around, and we're going to baste them together with a zigzag stitch. Okay, now it's all pinned. We're going to go ahead and sew it up. Okay, I'm going all the way around it with a zigzag stitch. My bodice and liner are put together. Super cute. Now we just need to go back on these ones, and we're going to attach the elastic and top stitch all the way around. But I'm also going to do this skirt. Now if you're doing the band, you would go ahead and put the band together and attach the band as well. But I am doing the skirt option, so I am going to go ahead and piece together my skirt. So I'm putting this two skirts right sides together, right on top of each other at that raw side edge, and I'm gonna sew that raw edge together first. And then I'm going to find, once I sew it together, I'm going to find my quarters for my skirt and for my bodice, because then I'm going to go ahead and sew my skirt and bodice together. So you can go ahead and do that all right now, and then go over to my serger and sew it together. Now all this can be done if you don't want to use your serger at all. You don't have to. You can do all this, all these steps with your zigzag stitch on your sewing machine. It will be just fine. So if I'm gonna want to find my halves, I'm gonna fold it, those two raw edges together, those two seams together, and then go to both of the sides. And I'm just gonna make a little notch to mark it. So then I'm gonna go ahead and sew all the way around, and then we'll go ahead and attach it to our bodice. So my skirts are sewn. I already found my halves right here. And I'm gonna grab my bodice and I'm gonna find my halves on my bodice too, because I already have my sides. So I need my front and my back, and I'm gonna get rid of these tails because I can't stand them being in my way. And plus I'm gonna sew them together, so we'll be fine. And so I'm gonna grab my fronts together and go to the back. My sides together and go to the back. And mark my quarter over here, and then mark those together and go to the front, and mark my quarter over here as well. And when you're sewing the skirt and the bodice together, make sure you're catching both the liner and the outer. It might be a little bit slippery on you and try to get away from you, but make sure you're catching them all. I'm gonna put my skirt over my bodice, and I'm gonna match up those quarter points. The front, I'm going to use those seams as my sides. I don't want that seam to be in front. So I'm matching the front and then all the seams. Here's more serger tails. The side seams, side seam of the skirt, right sides together, outer, and then the side seam of my bodice, outer and liner, and then back seam, back notch, and then the other side. Another serger tail, and I left a pin here, so I'm just gonna go ahead and use it for this side right here. If you want to pin more, you can obviously pin some more. I am good with just these. I have no idea where my pin went. Do you see it? It's crazy. I have to find it, or it's gonna go inside. If it goes inside my liner and my outer, I don't want it to get stuck in there. There it is. Found it. If you want to put more pins along the edge, you can, but we're going to just go ahead and go around and sew those together. We have attached our skirt to our bodice. Ooh, how cute. I love this back too. Super, super cute. This is going to be so cute. Love it already. Now we're going to grab all our elastics, and the first thing we're going to do to all of them is overlap 1/4 inch right there, and we're going to sew them together to get them prepped to put on our bathing suit. So I'm going to go ahead and sew them all together, and what I'm doing is I'm just doing a zigzag stitch back and forth over them, overlapped at 1/4 inch. Once my elastic is all done, I'm going to grab it and I'm going to actually mark it like in quarter points. That way I know how I'm going to put them on my bathing suit. So I'm marking those quarter points, and I'm going to do this for all of them. And then after I mark my quarter points, make sure you're actually grabbing the right ones, because see, this is my neckline. It's a little bit bigger than my arms. My arms at the same size. The neckline's a little bit bigger. So this is my arm, making sure, yeah. And I'm going to grab my arm, and I'm going to put my elastic. It's starting, I'm going to do that seam right here on this edge just because I like to, right on the inside. And I'm going to sew it right to that edge. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mark my points on my bathing suit. And make sure you make your points in your bathing suit too. That way they're equal sizes. Okay, and I'm going to pinning them at that raw edge right there, because I'm gonna go over to my serger and I am going to serge the elastic onto my bathing suit. Or you can, if you don't want to serge, you can go ahead and zigzag stitch it on too. Either way it will work. I'm gonna go ahead and put it on there. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do the same for all of the other elastic as well. All right, we're gonna go over to our serger and serge all that around. And as you'll see, I'll eat some of this extra lining that kind of came out on me, because it was super, you know, that's kind of hard to work with sometimes, and it's super thin, and sometimes it slides up, or you cut it a little bit bigger. So I'll eat that with my serger as I go around. So I'll just sew right along the edge, just encasing that elastic right there. Sewn all the way around, and I forgot to tell you that if you wanted to, you could steam that up and top stitch that seam on the waist, but I'm not going to. But anyway, I top stitched that elastic, encased it in there. So what you're gonna do now is you're gonna grab your fabric and you're gonna tilt down like so and pin. Well, first go all the way around and make sure that you caught all your swimsuit fabric all the way around, so that elastic was all encased in there for sure. Then I'm gonna go ahead and tilt it down, and I'm going to pin it, and I'm gonna go all the way around, and then we're gonna top stitch that down. And I'm going to do my top stitching with my cover stitch, just because I like the look of my cover stitch. But you can do it, if you don't have a cover stitch, you can do it with a zigzag stitch on your sewing machine. You're just gonna go all the way around and top stitch that elastic down for your arms and your neckline. And we will be done. Now, if you wanted to also, you can go ahead and hem your skirt as well. I'm gonna leave it raw just because I like the, I think it's fine, the look of the raw right there, because the swim fabric is, it doesn't, ravel. But it is up to you if you want to leave it raw, or if you want to make it hem or whatever. So I'm going to go all the way around, continue to pin, and then I'm going to go over to my cover stitch and top stitch the whole thing around. Finished pinning all the way around. I'm going over to my cover stitch. My bodice is done and it looks super cute. I love it. There's the top stitching. It looks super professional and cute. I love it. I'm excited and I can't wait to wear it out. And so now we're gonna go ahead and move on to our bottoms, and we're gonna grab our, where are my pins? Here they are. We're gonna grab our, we're gonna do this to our liner and our outer. So here's my liner, and we're gonna match up our raw edges, and I'm folding it right sides together, and I'm gonna sew at those side seams. We're gonna sew those side seams together, and we're gonna sew the crotch together. Now these are the solid bottoms. I will do the Colorblock bottoms when I on the other video, which has, it will have the Colorblock bottoms. It has the Colorblock bottoms and the zip up version. So this is the solid. So we're just going ahead and putting them, we're gonna sew those, and then again for the bottoms, we're gonna do the same exact thing. Sew those side seams and those and that bottom. Now you see a seam down this one in the back because I didn't have enough fabric, so I cut it with a little bit of a seam allowance and cut them so that I could sew them together. So instead of cutting them on the fold, I cut it, instead of cutting on the fold, I cut it 2 pieces with a little bit of an extra seam allowance to make it be able to be 2 pieces. And then I sewed it together down the middle because I wanted to do it with this fabric, and I figured the seam is going to be encased in my liner, so I think it should be fine. It shouldn't bother me too much. I'm gonna go ahead and go over to my serger and sew those sides and those bottom of my liner and of my outer right now. I have cut sewn them together. I'm gonna trim all these things. Do you trim them when you go along, or do you leave your serge tails on there? I know I'm gonna sew them together, so I always feel like when I know I'm gonna sew them together, I'm just gonna chop them off now. If it's like a neckline or something like that, then I leave them on there and I sew over them. But when it's something like this that I'm gonna sew over, I like to go ahead and cut them because they're just annoying. They just get on my way for no reason. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and grab my my bottoms, my bikini bottoms, and I'm gonna grab my liner and I'm gonna fit it right inside so that the seams are touching. So the wrong side of the liner is touching the wrong side of the outer, because you want that seam to be encased in there in your liner so that it doesn't touch your skin. Who wants that liner touching, that seam touching your skin? I know I don't. So we're gonna go ahead and pin right here and pin all the way around, and we're going to go around the waistline, all the way around the waistline and all the way around the legs, and we're gonna sew the liner to the outer all the way around. Make sure you're sewing it correctly and you're not twisting it like I was. Sewing all the way around the top and the legs. All right, it's all pinned, and you know me, you know I don't usually like to work with so many pins, but being that swim and liner are like super slippery, I went ahead and put a lot more pins than I usually do. Let's move on to our sewing machine. Here I am over on my sewing machine, and I'm going to go ahead and work with a zigzag stitch, and I'm going to top stitch all the way around. Bottoms and liner have been sewn together with the zigzag stitch. I grabbed my elastics for my waistband and my legs, and we're going to do the same thing that we did to our elastic for the bodice, for the arms and the neck. We're going to split them in quarters, and then after I split them in quarters, I'm going to also split my bodice, my bikini bottoms in quarters, and then I'm going to do the same thing I did with my bodice, where I put my elastic around, and we're going to serge it on, or you can sew it on. So I'm going to go ahead and quarter everything. Now remember, when it comes to quartering your legs, you want to make sure that you're grabbing your seam and you're going straight out, because that bottom seam is not your half. So you want to go straight out, and that's where you're going to find your half, and then from then match those tips right there, and then go to the side and to the other side. After I quarter point everything, I'm going to go ahead and grab my elastic, make sure which one is my waistband and which one's my other elastic, and I'm going to start putting it on the inside, all matching those quarter points that I made. Okay, so now I'm gonna go over to my serger and sew that on, stretching a little bit, or you can do it with a zigzag stitch. It's up to you. After I pin them all the way around and clip all my seams, all my tails, I'm gonna go ahead and sew it, top stitch it again, just like I did my suit. Okay, so like you just saw, I was a little bit braver with my bottoms and I just went for it to top stitch. I didn't even pin. And they turned out great. I can't wait to try them all on, the bottoms and my top, and I am loving it. How cute this set is. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. I hope you love your suit. Please come and share it with us on our Instagram or Facebook page. We'd love to see it. And we'd love for you to come and share your inspirations with us, and we'd love for you to come over and see what we're making so you can be inspired by everybody else that's sewing in the community. Please let me know if you have any questions. Please check out the other video that has the zip up version of this suit. Check out the pattern. It's a great pattern. So many options. Please, again, let me know if you have any questions. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Please comment, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you all next time.